Hey guys, LootWizard here with another video on Gems of War. And in this video, I wanted to quickly go over some of the best talents that there's available for classes, especially at level 100 and level 70, just to give you guys an idea of what classes that you might want to focus on leveling all the way to 100 first. So let's get right into it here. So it takes a long time to level your class up to level 100. You get the average XP that you get is 2 class XP, and that's for doing your adventure boards. That's for doing your delves. It's for doing ranked and casual PvP. All of those things and challenges too. All of that gives you 2 class XP per battle that you win. Explore is the only game mode that gives you 1 class XP. So that's it. Still takes you a long time, even though you're getting the 2 XP, right? So you really want to choose a couple of classes to focus in on that you want to level up to 100, and the best level 100 talents, in my opinion, are Rising Shadows, which gives you a 7% chance to assassinate the last enemy when another enemy dies. So it's basically lethal. Has a 7% chance of lethal damage to the last enemy when you kill one of the other enemy troops. So that's really great. It's a low percentage, but it does, when it does happen, it's a beautiful thing. That's a pretty powerful level 100 talent. The other one, which is usually comes along with all of the classes that have rock solid talent, which is generally around the level 40 level. And really quick, rock solid gives you that barrier when matching brown gems. If you're new to the game and you don't know what that is, it's one of the best talents that a class can have for defense. Because every time you match brown gems, you're going to get a barrier on your hero, and if it's in the top spot, it will protect you from a lot of damage. So moving on here, the level 100 other talent here that's really powerful. I think this is actually the #1 level 100 talent for me, is going to be Fortitude. It gives you immunity to stun, poison, disease, death mark, and devour. And Fortitude only shows up at level 100. And the classes that have Fortitude is Plague Lord, Rune Priest. Let's go in here just so we can confirm that. And it is. I do not have this one yet to level 100. Eventually I'll get it there. And then Sentinel has it at level 100. Fortitude. And then the Titan class has it right here. If you go all the way down here, level 100, and there is Fortitude. So the classes that have Fortitude is Titan, Sentinel, Rune Priest, and Plague Lord. I don't think there's any other classes that have Fortitude at level 100. Now, so we have Fortitude, we have Rising Shadows, and the third best level 100 talent is going to be Fireblade. So there are some of these classes that have Fireblade. It unlocks at level 100, and that gives you triple skull damage to burning enemies, which depends on how much attack damage that your hero class currently has, but on average, you're probably going to do somewhere around like 90 damage with connecting skulls, because I think the average attack damage is usually around 30 unless you are boosting your stats, so you're pretty high level, or you have 3 medals attached to your team, or you have some way to increase your attack with certain attack increasing troops. But Fireblade is still really powerful. I would say that it's probably it's either tied with Rising Shadows or it's in third place for me, because you have to have a weapon or a troop that also can burn the enemies in order for you to get that triple skull damage. But those are the most important level 100 talents for me. So when I'm looking at classes that like, hey, do I want to level this class to level 100 or not? I will look to see if it has one of those three talents at level 100. So Assassin has Rising Shadow, and I will try to level that to 100. There are some other ones in here that do have Rising Shadow. And now the other thing to think about too is you might only want to level one class that has, for example, the Fireblade. So, because there are quite a few classes that actually have Fireblade. I think Diabolist actually has it. I don't know why I clicked on traits. But yeah, it does have Fireblade down here. And Dragonguard has it. The Sunspear class has it. I don't know. I think Slayer has it as well. I haven't leveled this one at all yet. Yeah, here we go. Fireblade. That has it. So you got to go to like 4 to 5 classes that have Fireblade. And I do know that there are other ones that have Rising Shadow. I'm not sure if Orbweaver does. It does. So Orbweaver does have Rising Shadow. So, yeah, Orbweaver is a pretty good class too because of the 35% chance to summon a giant spider. So, you know, these are things that you have to consider when you're trying to decide which class you want to take to level 100. Is which one of the classes that have Fortitude, which ones of the ones that have Rising Shadow, which ones that have Fireblade are going to be the ones you want to take all the way to 100. Now, I'll give you a couple of my recommendations, and that is probably if you're going to do one class to 100 that has Fortitude, I would say go with Titan, because Titan is going to give you 50% starting mana for all giants, and there's a lot of giant troops, especially the trolls. A lot of or almost all the trolls are giants. And to get those to start with 50% mana, they also are great mana generators because they will double a certain color of mana on the board. So that's really great for beginning players and endgame players, is to have those start at 50% mana. And then the Titan class has all these other good talents in here where you have Rock Solid with it. Lightning Strike is great for more mana generation. And then finally you get Fortitude. So I would say if you're going to choose one class to get you to 100 that has Fortitude, go with Titan. If you want a second one, it's tough to decide between the other three that have Fortitude, because Sentinel is really good because it has a chance, 25% chance to bury a random ally, plus it also reduces damage from skulls by 40%. So those two things combined can be really powerful too. So I would probably say Sentinel is your second choice to get to level 100 for that Fortitude talent. Rune Priest is good too, but I don't think it's quite as good as Sentinel or Titan. Plague Lord is good as well. It has the disease thing going on for it at matching green mana. Other than that, Plague Lord really isn't as good as Sentinel or Titan. So those are my two picks there for Fortitude, is going to be Titan and Sentinel. Now for Fireblade, I would say my first pick is going to be Dragonguard. And I already have this one at level 100. But this one, the reason why I'm going to say this is the best one, I think, for the Fireblade talent is because you have skull damage reduction by 40%. And on 4 or 5 matches, you gain 1 life and 1 magic. But the skull damage reduction is huge because if you want to do that extra, the triple damage on burning enemies, then you're going to want your hero class up at the top of your team, because that's how you do the skull damage. So this is the only class that I know of where it has skull damage reduction as well as the Fireblade talent. And that's why I'm saying it's going to be my first pick for, if you want to go for Fireblade, this is probably the one to do it for. Not only does it have Fireblade, but it also has Razor armor, so it'll add 20% of armor to skull damage, which that's going to be a boost as well with the Fireblade. It's going to work really good with that. You also gain barrier at the start of battle, which really helps to protect your hero class, and then Savior down here will allow you to barrier another ally when one dies. So it's got a lot going for it for skull damage reduction and skull damage with that. So that's my first pick for Fireblade. My second pick is probably going to be Sunspear, just because with Sunspear you create a firestorm at the start of every turn. It's also immune to burning. But creating that firestorm, you may, because I know there is a lot of troops, like Infernus, for example, on a 4 or 5 match, will burn all enemy troops. And since you need to burn an enemy in order to get that triple skull damage, that could be very useful because Infernus uses red mana, and with the firestorm, you're going to have a more likelihood of getting those 4 or 5 matches. But the other thing that Sunspear has for it is it does have the Root Trap, which is also a great talent. I know I'm kind of going off a little bit on my this is supposed to be a short video on the best level 100 talents, and here I am mentioning some of these lower level talents, but it's all good. Root Trap is one of a great low level talent too, level 10 talent. Saved me plenty of times. But as you can see, Sunspear does have the Fireblade talent down here. And it also has a bonus to red mana, Firebringer once you get to 70. So if you're going to go for the Fireblade level 100 talent, I would say Dragonguard is your number 1 pick. At least that's my number 1 pick. And then Sunspear would be my second. Now, these are my opinions. So, you know, if you like a different class that has that, I know some people do like Slayer, some people do like the Diabolist class that does have the Fireblade talent in it, and that's fine. You know, if you like those classes and you got a team that works really well with it, by all means, you know, this game is you play the way you want to play. But these are just my opinions on the classes that I've chosen to level to 100 first. So now going to Rising Shadow, we have a few. I don't remember all of them, so I'm going to go through really quick here, just see if there's a few others that do have it. I know Assassin does, and I know Orbweaver does, and those are kind of in my mind the two picks. I think Thief does. Pretty sure Thief does. That I leveled that one to 100. So I want to check Archer here real quick. I don't remember that it has Rising Shadow. I could be wrong though. Yeah, it doesn't have Rising Shadow. But really quick here, just a note, if you look here, the level 100 talents for the Archer class, they're not really great. You know, you look at them and it's like, wow, you know, you have to get 30 more levels, and the amount of XP it takes more XP to get those last 30 levels than it does to go from like level 0 in your class to level 40. It's an insane amount of XP, and so you really don't want to take the energy to level a class all the way to 100 if you're just going to have these types of talents like Harvest Moon, Strix Commander, and Thieves Guild. Like, these aren't worth doing that extra 30 levels. So a class like Archer, I would stop here at level 70 and say that's good enough, because you don't really need these three. You know, Dodge here is a great one at 70 to get. So anyway, let's get back on the Rising Shadow talent. Assassin has it. We already looked at that. Orbweaver has it. Let's go back and look at Thief, because I'm pretty sure that Thief has it. And yep, Thief has it. So 7% chance to assassinate the last enemy when another enemy dies. And the good thing about Thief class is you also have at level 70, you have Dodge, which is a 30% chance to dodge skull damage. And then you also have Stealthy, which means you can't be targeted by spells unless you're the last troop alive. I'm going to say, plus it starts with 50% mana. And on 4 or 5 matches, it deals 7 damage to the last enemy. So I'm going to say for me, my first pick for Rising Shadows is going to be Thief class. And then my second pick is going to be Orbweaver. Simply because Orbweaver has the 35% chance to summon a giant spider when you take damage. The class is also immune to Mana Burn, Mana Drain, and Mana Steal. And then its talents are pretty good. Again, it has Root Trap, which, as I mentioned before, is a pretty good talent. It has Stealthy, and that's also really good. Then at 100, you have Rising Shadows. So I would say my first pick for a Rising Shadows talent is going to be the Thief class and then the Orbweaver class. Third place for me would probably be the Assassin. And as you can see, that's pretty much the order in which I have been leveling them. So I already have Thief at level 100. Orbweaver is at level 71. And then my Assassin here is sitting at 53. So I still have some work to do on leveling those to 100, but that's kind of where I'm at. And I just wanted to share with you guys kind of my thought process on which classes for me, this is my opinion of which classes I'm going to be focusing on to get into level 100 before the other ones. Because certainly, I'll say this now, and I'm sure I've said it before, but there are some classes you just do not need to get to level 100, and it takes way too much time. Most classes are fine, probably at level 40, and there are some classes that have some pretty good talents once you get to level 70, but most of them you don't really need to take past level 70. So yeah, guys, that's some of my thoughts here on classes. I will say here before I end this video, Warlord is a kind of a beginner's trap. I won't say that it's like the worst class in the game, but there's certainly better classes to pick. And Warlord is the very first class that you unlock in the game when you start playing. And there's much better classes that you can pick. This class, though, does have Fireblade. So if you do level this all the way to 100 as a beginning player, it's not the end of the world. It's not the worst choice. Fireblade. And you do have Firebringer for bonus red, and you got that triple skull damage on burning enemies. There's just better classes because most of these aren't really that great. You'll find a little bit of this useful, like gain 5 attack in PvP, gain 2 attack when you take damage. There'll be a couple of these early ones that do help you out if you're just beginning in the game, because gaining an extra 5 attack in PvP is a big thing when you just start out in the game. But once you get later up in the levels, like once you reach like level 400, 500, 600, like Warlord is not going to be as useful to you at those levels and above. So I would say get off of Warlord as quickly as you can and probably go to Titan class for your first one. You definitely need to level at least one class up to 100 that has Fortitude. Because there has been a lot of times where I've been in Guild Wars, I've been in PvP, and it saved my hero from being instantly killed, devoured, and all of that. It's immune to stun too, which really helps you out. So Fortitude is my number one 100 talent there. So yeah, guys, hopefully my rambling made sense. I just wanted to give a short little video here on the classes that I prioritize in leveling to 100, what those top 3 level 100 talents are for me. So yeah, guys, hopefully the video helped you out in some way. If it did, please leave a like on this video, and if you have not subscribed to this channel, please consider doing so to get more videos like this. And have fun in Gems of War, guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Later.